Strategic partnership agreement that was signed by this guy and also by Putin. This is coming at a time when both Iran and Russia, they are actually the most sanctioned nation on earth. They are not struggling financially, by the way. Iran is feeling the heat, but not so much for Russia. Nevertheless, Russia can still feel the pain for Iran, and they decided it is time for us to cooperate strategically. Okay. Now, this is coming also when we have seen how BRICS nation, they got together, and they now want to start or introduce their own currency to challenge dollar hegemony, US dollar. But something we will have to wait and find out. Somebody is not happy in Washington. This is the guy who is going to be the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. He said that the Islamic regime in Iran does not represent the great people of Iran. Iranians want peace, safety, and freedom for all. So as American people. American people, they are protesting every single day against the genocide in Gaza. None of the demands are being fulfilled. Instead, they were arrested, they were beaten up, they were chased away by the police. If you take a look at what is happening in Iran, on the other hand, you see people are actually coming out in support of the government in most cases. Take a listen what Marco Rubio has to say.
2 points I want to make about Iran, and it's really important. When we talk about Iran, I'm talking about the radical Shia clerics and not the people. The people of Iran are people of an ancient civilization, an ancient culture with tremendous pride and advances. And I don't know who take great pride in their Persian heritage and identity. And I don't know of any nation on earth in which there is a bigger difference between the people and those who govern them than what exists in Iran. And
well, again, that's not true. The biggest example is the United States itself. It does not heed any of the demands from its people. They follow, they obey, they take orders from the Zionist lobby.
That's a fact that needs to be made repeatedly. In no way is the clerics who run that country representative of the people of that country and of its history and of contributions it's made to humanity. And it's a point I wish we would continue to make.
If you love
2 points I want to make.
If you love the people of Iran so much, what Marco Rubio is saying, Iranian great people, they have rich history of the civilization and blah blah blah. Then why you sanction them? Why you sanction them? Why you sanction these people? Especially when he's blaming the government, but the government of Iran, they want to negotiate, they want to sign on that JCPOA anytime. But it was Donald Trump, it was the United States who threw it away. So these are all fuss, these are all crocodile tears for the Iranian people. They don't care about Iranian people. Now, Russia intelligence reportedly warned Iran. Take a look at some of the things they have done. Russia. They have reportedly warned Iran of Israel's attack hours in advance when the Zionist state of Israel attacked Iran on October the 16th. Now, this is something that also we have to focus on, their past relationship between Iran and Russia. So Russia is arming Iran in preparation for a possible war with Israel. This was published back in August last year. And we know that Russia, they provided Iran with S-400 missile defense system. In fact, Russian military personnel, they traveled to Iran to install those defense system in Iran. Now, Russia announced a support for Iran's retaliation attack on Israel. According to this new strategic agreement they will not allow anybody to use their territory or their airspace to attack the other country. If somebody wants to attack Iran, they cannot use Russian airspace, for example. And if they want to, or anybody wants to attack Russia, they cannot use Iranian airspace. If they do, then Iran and Russia both will shut down those missiles, those planes, fighter jets that are approaching to harm either of these two nations. There is one thing that we have to also understand at the same time, and that is that This agreement does not include military equipment transfer. Means Russian military will not be fighting for Iran. Iranian military will not be fighting for Russia. And Iranian military asset will not be used. Russian military asset will not be used. So personnel and asset, none of those things will be used. Yes, they can support each other for like defensive purposes. For example, if they come under attack, Iran can use Russian defense system. Russia can use Iranian Shahid drones, suicidal drones. But that's about it. They will not send their personnel or their military asset to fight a war for the other country. What is happening between Russia and North Korea is not what will happen between Russia and Iran. Iran will not send its troops to fight on behalf of Russia, according to this agreement. Now, this is coming from obviously Western analysts who believe that Russia is somehow using the North Korean troops to fight for them in Ukraine. So that is one thing about the agreement, and there are so many other aspects of it that we can discuss. Now, in the past, we have seen how Israel says Russia will help Iran deal with an expected Israeli attack. Shows that Iran and Russia, they were forming this kind of strategic relationship even before it was signed. There is no doubt about that. And Netanyahu, he realized it. Israel calls Russia a sole supplier of weapons to Iran in Middle East. This is actually not a secret anymore. We know. The whole world knows it, and Russia doesn't care about it. If U.S. wants to put more sanction on Russia for it, they don't care. Iran is continue to receive more military aid and help to defend itself from their enemies, from those adversaries, and Russia will do the same thing. Now, Iran, their response on Israel was the best way to punish the aggressor. So Iran's response to Israel was the best way to punish the aggressor. So again, they were forming this relationship long time ago. We had absolutely no idea about this, but a lot of people, a lot of analysts, they believe this is what was happening. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and Russian President Vladimir Putin have signed a cooperation pact, deepening the partnership between two of the world's most heavily sanctioned nations. Iranian and Russian officials said the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Treaty, quote-unquote, covers areas from trade, military cooperation to science, culture, and education. So basically, they are going to be sharing everything. I mean, both of these countries have opened their doors for each other wide open, not just open, wide open, on every aspect, military, culture. This is something that should terrify the West. Because Russia pretty much is saying that the Western propaganda against Iran, where they claim, Piers Morgan, he mentioned it many, many times, that is Iran, the oppressed woman, with the hijab, the burqa and all that. Russia is now showing a middle figure to this Western narrative about Iran. Literally, because Russia is now embracing that same culture. I mean, obviously, Russia is not going to tell its people, its women to wear hijab, but Russia is okay, and they're welcoming it. So, for example, if an Iranian comes to Russia and they cover themselves from top to bottom, the women, Russia will never have a law that will prohibit those women. Unlike what we have seen in countries like Sweden, Denmark, where they ban hijab for good. You can never wear hijab. It's banned. In France, they ban hijab too in public places and government places. So Russia is really showing the middle finger to this Western culture and embracing Iranian culture and Islamic culture. At a joint news conference with Pezeshkian in Moscow on Friday, Putin praised the deal as a quote-unquote real breakthrough, creating conditions for stable and sustainable development of Russia, Iran, and the entire region. This is going to be a huge mutual interest agreement between these two countries. The Kremlin earlier said that the treaty will enhance the quote-unquote military, political, and trade economic relations between Tehran and Moscow, though the specifics remain undisclosed. It would also obviously include BRICS. Iran is getting a much stronger position in the BRICS, and Russia is welcoming it. Russia is absolutely happy about it. Pezeshkian said the two countries were entering a new chapter in relations, especially in trade. The leader said that the two countries would intensify cooperation across a range of areas, including politics, security, trade, transport, and energy. What else is left out? Nothing. Really nothing. I mean, if you go to Iran, you see a lot of Russians. Russia has a lot of tourists traveling to Turkey. And now these tourists, Russian tourists, will be traveling to Iran. And they bring in millions, if not billions of dollars in revenue every year for Turkey. So a huge chunk of it could go to Iran, potentially, because the door is open. I don't know if they will even need a visa anymore. Both countries have increased their trade activities in response to Western sanctions. Iran has already provided Russia with self-detonating Shahid drones, which Moscow has used in its nightly strikes on Ukraine, according to Ukrainian and Western officials. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 22, Moscow has viewed Iran as key strategic partner, a move that has alarmed Western officials who see both nations as destabilizing forces globally. It's actually the other way around. It's the Western countries that are destabilizing the entire world. They are going to be working together. I mean, Russia and Iran, they are going to be working together, and they mean it. It is not like, just on the paper. They do. I mean, a lot of the time we see that when they sign agreements between leaders, it takes years for it to come to fruition. But in this case, they were already working. Russia and Iran, they were already doing commerce, trade, and partnering in everything. Because Iran knows waiting for the Western countries to lift sanction on them and to normalize ties with them is just a waste of time and oxygen. And Iran, thankfully, they are waking up to this reality and siding with Russia.